of the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every motherfucker must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris,
I'm Russ.
and this is episode 290.
290, back in the virtual nerd basement. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight, guys. We are 10 away from the big 300.
Yep.
It's a pretty big deal.
Special night, Labor Day,
Yeah.
Monday night,
Yeah.
because so we were planning on being off this week
Right.
because of my
fantasy
football draft, which
Right.
it's an every year thing, which
Right.
it might change next year, but last week we were off due to power outages.
Power outage. Yeah, it's freaking weird. Like in this world, this digital age, and we were out because of power outage. Like what the actual fuck? You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it
just
sucked.
weird.
And I didn't want to be out. I didn't want to be gone for 2 weeks because I
Right.
love talking to people. I love doing our show, and
Mhm.
I really didn't want to miss 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
So I hit you up and said, "Hey, are you available tonight?" And you were out at Ren Fair all day,
I was.
and I
Nice
was
day.
I was at a friend's barbecue all day. So, but we're here.
We are here.
Yes.
God's love us. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I had a 4-day weekend. I had 4 days off. I felt like I didn't do fuck all. You know?
I did 3, and there is one thing I did that I'll talk about later on. So
I did. I
actually,
mean,
there's 2
it just,
things.
well, like Friday, we gamed, which is great.
Yep.
We'll talk about that. Saturday, I was going to go to Red Fair, but I ended up staying up too late Friday night after I got home from gaming, and I got like 2-3 hours sleep, I think, and because I want to get, when I get to a festival, I get there at like 8 a.m. Place doesn't open till 10. You know, I mean, I get there between 8 and 8:30 because I want a good parking spot. I don't want to deal with the bullshit of the traffic and everything else. And that's the way I've always done fair.
Yep.
You know, and so like Saturday morning, I got up at like, I think I woke up at 8 a.m. and I'm like, man, by the time I get up and get out of here, it's 8:30, and then it's after 9 by the time I get there, and I'm going to be fighting. Now, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just too tired. Because like I said, I've been up way too late. And I felt, it was weird because I felt like kind of off all damn day, you know, because I was just trying to keep busy. I was trying to do a few things. I mean, the week before I had a gig in Saginaw, so I was kind of busy with that. So it kept me distracted. So at fair, so I was like, what am I doing? You know? And so all day on Saturday, I just kind of felt off. And then Sunday, I had rehearsal for my dinner show and a couple other things. So I kept busy, but because then I was like, no, I'm definitely going to fair on Monday. I need to be there, you know, because it's still my home.
Mm-hmm.
It's still my home, you know. But I had a nice day.
Renee's saying that she is on day 5 of 11 for work.
Holy shitballs.
Yeah, she's working 11 days in a row because they've got a bunch of people off. So
she had to work today?
Yeah. She had to work today. It's her normal day.
Well, hopefully she got hopefully she got like holiday pay for
she gets holiday pay and all that, but yeah, she's actually, hey Auntie Dawn.
Hey Dawn, how you doing? I ran into Auntie on opening day at fair. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you, sweetheart.
Sweet OT.
Okay, sweet OT. I'm gonna make a shout out to Lou Pizzette, the butthead that was telling me. It's like, Lou's an old buddy of mine. We've been friends for decades, and he does listen to the show, but he doesn't usually tune in. Every once in a while he'll watch the live broadcast, but he usually listens on the podcast part. And he's like, you never mentioned me. And I go, because I'm usually dealing with the people that are watching. But so Lou, this is your shout out, brother.
You know, if you
Love
watch, if you watch live, Lou,
yeah,
you get shouted out a lot more.
Lou's one of the guys I've always wanted to have on. He's a serious nerd. He's an old buddy of mine, and we can have long talks about some of the goofy shit we dealt with at Ren Fair, because he was one of my buddies on the team, the security team at festival. Yeah, Renee, get a vacation afterwards. Jeez, I know I just came back from vacation, but holy shit. Yeah, so my day at the Renaissance Festival was nice. The weather was great. It was like low 70s, low to mid 70s. It was overcast, but it didn't rain at all. It
looked like it was going to rain and felt like it was going to rain all day long.
When I was pulling in, there's definitely dark clouds coming from
but there's nothing.
Yeah. I think there was some talk that there was going to be some showers, but nothing. Yeah. So the fair was really nice. The crowds were, for our Labor Day, they were really high. I saw every vendor that I know that I was talking to said they're almost out of stuff. I mean, they had a really great weekend for sales. In fact, from what I understand, the numbers are up all across the board. So great. That was one of the things that many of us old school Rennies were talking about. They were figuring that this was going to be a big year. So that's good. So it was a really nice day. It was a beautiful day, and I used like a little sun, I think because it was gray all day, it did kind of cast up a little bit of a pall, but it was nice. And the other thing about Saturday too that also kind of deterred me from going was the 90-degree day.
Yeah,
nothing like welcome to the end of summer of Michigan, when you have 90 degrees one day and 72 the next.
Yep.
Like holy crap. So I will say one thing though too. One of the nice things about being at the Michigan Ren Fair today and not at the Ohio Ren Fair during their opening weekend, they got a torrential downpour over like overnight that flooded their fair.
Oh,
like completely. Sucks. They couldn't open today.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole place was completely flooded. I mean, like 6 to 18 inches of deep puddles of like their entire. Like the lanes, so people like canoeing down the friggin' lanes. There was actually footage of a kid on like a boogie board just swimming through this muddy
wow.
like river. Oh man, I mean I've never seen Michigan has never been quite like that. I mean we've had rainstorms that flooded the place, but it was never like, hey, let's go swimming in the puddles.
Yeah,
it was. Some adjacent friends shared posts from other people that they know down there, and I was just like, I was amazed, just amazed at it, So yeah, Ohio, my heart goes out to you. I'm planning on going down the second weekend of October because October actually has 5 weekends this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm planning on going down the second weekend because the third and fourth weekends I've got Theater Bazaar. And I don't know, man. It's going to take weeks to recover from that. So yeah, let's see. But yeah,
it was a damp start to the weekend festivities, but that was no concern for the Ohio Renaissance Festival.
Well, they sure shit didn't open today. There's no way.
This is posted today. On Saturday morning, the gates opened to the world of skilled artists and daring performers in rogue fantasy. Guests tramped through the mud and into the pouring rain to watch jousts and circus acts. While the rain failed to dampen spirits, it did make things quite difficult for some performers.
That was Saturday, right?
Well, they're talking about Saturday right now, but this was posted today. The joust went on in spite of the rain-soaked arena, as knights in shining armor competed for the queen's favor throughout the day. While the magic of the first day may be through, there is still plenty of time. Yeah, so this was posted today, but it was all about yesterday. And I guess, oh, wow. Yeah, there's some pictures of like just water everywhere.
Water everywhere. There's no way in hell they could have opened today. It was just you would have had to have hit waiters, man.
They did open yesterday. They just didn't open today.
They just didn't open today. But yeah, they had there's a picture, there was a video of a guy on an ATV going through it, and the water was coming up over the tires of the ATV.
Damn.
Yeah,
That just
crazy.
sucks. Because I actually really like the Ohio Renaissance Festival.
The last time
there
I
are
went,
a few things I will say good about Ohio, but
right.
I like the Ohio Renaissance Festival.
The last time I went was with you and Kelly.
Yep.
And Sky, when I was dating Sky, and we went, and it was literally 20 years ago.
Yep.
And we had a great day. We had a great time.
Oh, it was a blast.
Fucking time. It was a blast. It was a great festival. Remember when we walked up in the and they had the Hormel truck out front, and it was just going spam, 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 beautiful spam, 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 all day on a loop. I would have killed myself. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I went a couple times while I was actually in Ohio, living in Kentucky too.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a beautiful show, and like I said, I didn't get a chance to go to Bristol again this year, but I am planning to make a trek down to Ohio, probably that second weekend of October.
Yeah, which I'm in Chicago that weekend.
Right on. So what are you drinking? Because I'm not really drinking tonight.
I shouldn't be drinking.
You've been drinking all day.
I've been drinking all day. I've been drinking
damn day.
I've been drinking Angel's Envy bourbon all day, which is really good. But right now, what I'm drinking is something that I actually have never had before. This was a suggestion of a friend of mine from the curling club. I've been looking for a sipping tequila. So something that I could drink like bourbon or like whiskey or like my Bumber rum. So I am trying El Tesoro Blanco tequila tonight.
El Tesoro Blanco.
Yes. It is 100% puro de agave. So 100% pure agave. They do not add any additives or anything like that. El Tesoro is crafted at these are really small, man. I'm old. I need glasses. Altera Distillery, founded by my grandfather, Don Felipe Camarena, in 1937. We make tequila here almost exactly as he did then, and for the very same reasons, to pay tribute to the fields of agave and to make the spirit worth sipping. At Alteña, tradition matters. We still cook our agave in old-fashioned ovens, crush them with the volcanic Tahona wheel, and double distill our tequila to proof without any additives. That's why it retains the rich, smoky essence of agave, and why our Blanco spirit hints of herbs and a touch of sweetness swirl through the spirit. So, I have not really. I took one little tiny sip, but I'm going to take another sip here because it is clear, just like Blanco tequila should be. It has a lot of agave aroma, which I like. I actually really like the flavor of agave, which is one of the things I've been looking for in tequila. Is getting something that actually tastes like agave, because I actually like that flavor. So, oh, that's pretty good. It is on ice, and it is probably a little. The ice has melted a little bit since I poured it, but that's actually really good. It's got a little bit of bitterness, but it also has a lot of that. Well, bless you. Has a lot of that.
Sorry, thank you.
Agave flavor, which is kind of a sweetness that comes in. I like that. It's not something that I necessarily will drink all the time, but I will definitely. This is definitely something I think I can sip.
Awesome.
This is pretty good. I also like that the cap, you can't really see it here, but it's almost like stone.
Oh, that's cool.
It looks really cool. But yeah, it is not bad. If you're looking for a sipping tequila, El Tesoro, they have multiple different kinds. They have like a Robusto and another one that I don't remember what it was. But
Robusto.
yeah, I decided to try the Blanco first, and then possibly go to the Robusto or something else later on. But yeah, this is good. This is one of the first tequilas I can say that I actually enjoy really sipping. Rich brought one over over the weekend for our game on Friday, and I um, I found that at the store I was at, and I sent a picture to my buddy he's honestly he is a tequila snob, and like a hipster tequila snob, like that type of snob, but he knows tequila. And so I sent him a picture of that one saying, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's shit. It's all full of additives. It's going to taste like fake vanilla. It's going to taste like fake this." And then he gave me a bunch of suggestions for reasonably priced tequilas that are 100% agave, no additives, and this was one of them. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I will take your advice, and I'll see what I think. And it's pretty damn good. So yeah, if you like tequila, El Tesoro, I give it 2 thumbs up.
Awesome, I did. All right, cool.
You said you're not drinking?
I'm not really drinking. I just out and about all day and probably not going to like. I actually haven't eaten a whole lot too, so I just go straight to my head.
Do you have anything at fair today?
I did. I just got. It's funny. I just got like some soft tacos. They've got like they call them. They're crazy tacos. They're not crazy. They're soft tacos, and if anything, they're a lot less than they used to be. Like I paid $7 for 2 soft shell tacos that had probably less stuff in them than a normal Taco Bell taco.
That you could have got for like $2 at Taco Bell.
Back in the day, or back in even just 2 years ago or last year, they'd give you 3, and they were fairly full. Maybe they were probably running out of stuff and running out of food and probably being a little more conservative, but it was still like, man, $7, I paid for $7, this shit. So it was a little disappointing.
No, do you have anything to drink at fair?
I just had soda pop and some Gatorade, but the other day I did have some amazing Moniak mead.
Oh, that would have been Friday night.
That would have been Friday night. So for those of you guys who have not had Moniak mead, if you have the opportunity, I highly recommend it. It is one of the best.
Those who have not listened to the show before.
Right. It is one of the best, if not the best, Scottish mead on the market. Unfortunately, it's unavailable in the United States. You have to go to Canada or, honestly, to Scotland probably to get it. For whatever reason, I think you actually looked into it or something, didn't you? That Moniak is not available, for whatever reason.
It's
just a distributor here.
Yeah, we have the wine cops here, particularly in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'm gonna close that door and just kind of keep the dogs a little quieter. They're pissed that they're in their kennels right now. I think that's part of it. I don't know exactly why Moniak is not imported into the U.S., but I'm sure there's some reason.
Sure.
But yeah, Renee and I went to we found one of the LCBOs. We went to Canada last weekend for a curling camp, which was absolutely amazing. So much fun. Met a bunch of great people, had a great time, learned a lot, seriously helped my delivery. We found, I looked up online to see if Moniak was available at any of the LCBOs, and there was one in London, Ontario, which is on the way, just a little bit off the highway. And we got there like 15 minutes before they closed. Walked in, said, "Hey, here's what we're looking for." And the lady's like, you have a picture of it? Do you know what it looks like? And so I pulled it up on my phone, and she went, okay, that's what I need right there is that number. She looked it up, and she's like, okay, it says we have 17 bottles. How many are you looking for? And we just went, yes.
Yes.
And she went, oh, okay, well, let's go over here. And she found where it was on the shelf, and there were 4 bottles on the shelf. And she's like, okay, that means we have to have a case in the back. So let me go look. I will find this for you. And she went in the back, and about 10 minutes later, she came out, and she's like, she's got a little cart, and she's pushing it, and she's got a case on the top of it. And she's like, all right, I got it. She's like, I found it. I taped it all up for you. You're all set to go. Just have them scan the front. You're good. And awesome. So we put it in our basket and took it up to the front and bought 16 bottles.
Jesus.
Of Moniak.
Well, see, the last time I had Moniak, I think we were saving. I saved it for a special occasion. I was saving like the last half of my bottle or something like that, the last bottle I had for a special occasion, because for me, Moniak the last few times has been for to memorialize somebody that had passed. When Michael passed, we drank some, a lot actually. It was the anniversary of the last time I think I had it. I think it was the anniversary of Dave for the mayor at Ren Fair. That was that he had passed, and so me and a couple of people that knew him, I poured some shots for him, and glasses, and we toasted to Dave Harris, and a father to many of us at the Renaissance Festival. So, but yeah, Moniak is definitely most meads like that, and the wine type of mead are meads that you sip. You don't just chug it. You don't drink it like woodchuck or whatever. I mean, not woodchuck, zombie killer or something like that. It's not a beer-ish type of mead. This is definitely that kind of mead, and the kind of mead that you sip and you savor, and it's because it's incredible.
Yep. But yeah, so I pulled that out for our game on Friday, which was a lot of fun.
It was. We had a great game. So, so jumping into that, Friday night we had a great D&D game.
Yes. I had a blast.
We did. We all hit level 10 right before that. This at the end of the previous session, so we were all at level 10 now, and we are basically in a kind of not rebuilding, but
kind of a holding pattern.
Yeah. Well, in a refocusing kind of session, because we got to figure out where we're going next, what we're doing next, because we got the shit that we needed. We got the parts of the staff.
You basically finished chapter 2.
Right. Yeah. So now we were, where do we go from here? Kind of thing. So we went home, and you kind of sped us through, like we did. We teleported a good distance, and then traveled the rest of the way. And we kind of fast traveled, so to speak, through that section. And didn't come across too much danger, and we got back to Fandolin, where our manor is, our manor house and whatnot is. Got together with old friends, and we met up with our patron, the wizard Raslin, who was pretty much quested us, or tasked us with this quest.
Yes, the wizard Raslin.
Say again.
The wizard Raslin.
The wizard Raslin, and then we got to meet with the guys handling like the mine, and Wave Echo Mine, or Wave Echo Cave, and the mine and all that stuff. And
you went to Noblin's Gizmos.
Went to Noblin's,
which was entertaining.
It was very funny. And yeah, you and your ADD like racked gnome that That was
But
really funny.
I can do this, and yet, and if we do this, and
Which is really funny considering that the goblin is the more stable of the two, you know, it's just kind of funny. So yeah, we it was a great time. I mean, we didn't have, oh, thanks, Don. Yeah, Harris, Don, Dave Harris. The it killed me. I was like blanking on his last name. I've known the man for almost 30 years. But anyway, it was one of those games that we had a lot of RP, we didn't have any combat, and it was good though. It was I mean, I hate it when people are like, oh man, there wasn't any sword swinging. Yeah, that's not what D&D is 100 is about 100%. You know, you should have plenty of time to role play, and that's what it is. It's a role playing game.
Yep.
Cope, you know. So but we had a lot of that. It was great. And I'm looking forward to seeing where we go from here. We got a lot of things to do and a lot of places, a lot of options.
Yep. And you guys got to decide what you want to do next.
I think it was we were going to go into the cave and try and maybe spend a week, or in the mine, maybe try and spend a week trying to help them get the bellows working again.
Yeah, there was talk of how to like use stone shape to try and build up an area, create an aqueduct.
Yeah, which totally possible. We just it depends on. I mean, he said he can cast it 5 times a day, and so it depends on how much that's going to get us. And I mean, it may be a week of casting stone shape. You know, I don't think I can cast that.
I don't think you can.
I think that's a cleric spell.
Yeah.
So I think it's strictly. I don't think paladins have access to that one.
I don't think so.
But I'd have to look. I don't know. But yeah, it was fun, and I like the fact that we seem to be figuring out. We're always figuring out more and more stuff about each individual's characters. Like the fact that Klimbrum doesn't really like to use her family name for things because she's afraid she's going to put them in danger. And I'm like, that's a good, because she's, kind of a secret agent. So, I like the fact that. Whereas Marikaris doesn't give 2 fucks. I mean, he drops his last name all the time, and it's not even a like, hey, do you know what my father is? It's more like, no, I'm proud of that's who I am, and I'm proud of my name, and
by the way, paladins do not get stone shape.
Yeah, I didn't think we did. So yeah, I mean, I'm Marikaris Corvathian. This is my family name, and I mean, his father is, can take care of himself, so he's not really worried about some rando that he pisses off. So, but it was a good time, and I'm really, like I said, I really do enjoy the game a lot. I'm really loving it. So speaking of D&D. I was just reminded me of some drama I saw on that Dungeons & Dragons actually did address a recent issue that they had with something that was in the latest Spelljammer. Right. The box set came out. Chris and I both each purchased it.
I have not even actually, I mean, I've opened it, but I have not pulled out any of the books yet. I actually haven't looked at anything in it.
So I've looked through it. Now I think it retails around $75. But you get 3 books. It's really
there's great big DM screen.
Big DM screen, and I think a map is in there too. But you get
the asteroid city.
You get a lot. You get quite a bit for you're getting 3 books. I mean, now they aren't full size books. They're probably half the size of a normal D&D book. So you're really getting about a book and a half. But still, with the map and everything else, and I'm going to say, honestly, I got it for me from work and used her discount. And then Amazon, it was listed at like $45 or something. So not a bad price, particularly if you're getting it on discounted. And I saw a lot.
But if you can, support your local shops.
Yeah, exactly. Support your local shop if you can. Now it's been a long time since Spelljammer was released. They never really released any Spelljammer stuff in third edition or 3.5. So we haven't really seen any new Spelljammer shit since second edition when it was originally released. So seeing this again and seeing some of the things that they've integrated from like Star Frontiers and some of the other things, I was tickled, and I've always liked the concept of magic space travel. I thought that being a sci-fi junkie and being a fantasy junkie too, and mixing, hey man, these are two great tastes that go great together. What are we doing? This is awesome. So I've always been a big fan of the whole concept.
You got your sci-fi in my fantasy.
See, you got your fantasy in my sci-fi. And I mean, it was great. So, you know, a lot of fun. So when I looked through the books, I was very tickled. I was enjoying it a great deal. I thought, you know, there's some really cool stuff in here. There's some fun stuff. And I'm looking forward to exploring this a little bit. You know, not necessarily, I know that you don't really want to do any spell jamming, at least not in this campaign, but maybe in another campaign or whatever that I might get into. The bestiary is pretty cool. They do have miniature giant space hamsters. In fact, the bestiary is named after Boo, the miniature giant space hamster. And the whole listing for them is absolutely hilarious because apparently they're everywhere and they're just hamsters. Their miniature giant space hamsters they've spread out all across the plains. They're just hamsters. Yeah. they're like telepathic but they keep it quiet. And there are giant space hamsters that are used for like beasts of burden and shit and whatever. It's just okay. But it's really funny. There's some actually really like silly shit in this book setting too. Like the vampirates and there's like the space clowns or something like that, and there's a couple other things. Now one thing that people kind of freaked out a little bit about was the race, the Hadozi. Now the Hadozi are a winged monkey-in race, a winged ape-like race. And they were originally introduced in Star Frontiers under a different name. Their race was the Drazalites or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But they were an ape-like race that had glider wings under their arms. And I just thought they were pretty cool. Well, in the book, and they have since removed this from the PDF, in the book, it was stated that their origins came from an evil wizard that had created them and bred them as a warrior race to be sold into slavery. And the internet saw this and lost its collective mind and saying that they took offense to the fact that that this race was created using eugenics and slavery, and the whole idea was awful. Now, I don't disagree that it is a pretty shitty origin. And
it is a shitty origin, but you know what?
Shitty origin.
It's still a fucking fantasy.
It's still a fucking fantasy. And, you know...
And I may sound like an old white guy.
Well, you do sound like an old white guy because you are an old white guy. But that's okay. D&D D&D basically ripped it out of the PDF. I don't know if they're going to change the origin or do something else. They are. They said that it is no longer going to be in further printings of these books. And apparently it's just a holdover from the original origin. It's a holdover from second edition. Somebody missed it. Some editor fucking missed it. And they did state in their statement that they would be making inquiries as to, you know, what happened and steps would be taken. I'm like, oh, who's gonna lose their job over this one?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Guys.
So my issue with this is I don't know what exactly the true issue was. Was it that they were a race created to be a slave race? or something else.
I think that was part of that. That's the main
The problem with that is, if that's the case, then we can't have. Is slavery bad? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely,
But
it's bad.
is slavery part of fantasy realms? Yes, it is.
Yeah. The
I mean,
Jergar were a slave race created by, I think, the Mind Flayers or something like
yeah.
that.
They were enslaved by the Mind Flayers.
Right.
The Drow keep slaves. Anyone that's not a Drow might as well be a slave, according to the Drow.
Particularly in their originally in their
yes.
in the Underdark in Menzoberranzan. Baranzan. Thank you. It's a mouthful. Everything that comes out of that area. I mean, like that. Their whole culture their whole economy is built on slave labor for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it evil? Yeah, it's evil. It's terrible. It's bad.
It's what you fight against. It's
part of a story. We fight against it, right? I mean, the fact that the Hadozi rebelled against their creator before he was able to do that, to do what he wanted to do, and then they went out and created their own lives and culture and whatever else. That's amazing. That's awesome. I think you're doing a disservice by not having that as a part of it. You know, I think that makes them a race that overcame great evil.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that makes it, and I think it's just, I get that they really want to appeal to, and they're, I'm not opposed to a lot of some of the changes they've made in the stories and in the settings and the content. For the most part, I'm okay with. I don't really, I'm pretty easygoing about a lot of this stuff. The fact that they want to concentrate and make sure that, that they're stating that they've removed the idea that an entire race could be considered evil, or that, and that kind of thing. Okay, fine with that. That's totally
That's
fine.
always been my thing in campaigns anyway, is that they're
in most D&D settings.
Are most Drow evil? Yes, but are all Drow evil? No.
No. And then the
same thing with orcs. Like you guys even in Tavern Knights, you guys ran into a town that was a mix of orcs and goblins and humans, and they were all working together. And you actually had an orc that stood up for you and took a beating for you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, most dungeon masters that I've encountered have never established that races as a whole, like an entire race, is bad or evil. Now, a culture could have aspects of their culture considered evil or bad. I mean, honestly, the Aztecs sacrificed human beings on the regular to their gods. They made human sacrifices regularly. Now, we, as a culture, consider human sacrifice to be one of the worst things that any culture could perpetuate upon their people. The Aztecs didn't necessarily think that, that they were appeasing their gods. They were, and so, would it be considered? And one of the reasons why they were wiped out, why the conquistadors came in and wiped them out, was because of things like that, because of their human sacrifice. Like I said, is it bad and wrong?
Because their religious beliefs conflicted with the Aztecs' religious beliefs.
Correct. And they considered it evil. Did the Aztecians, did the Aztecs consider themselves evil? Probably not. So do the...
no one is the villain of their own story.
Exactly. I just think it's one of those things. This is one of those things that I'm like, guys, we got bigger things, bigger fish to fry than whether this race of winged monkeys in a sci-fi fantasy game, it came from were originally bred to be slaves. I mean, they overcame it. They didn't even have to overcome slavery. They rebelled before they were sold into whatever. I think that's what it established. So I think this is one of those things. It's like, even I've got to be like, good Lord, could we really? This is where we're going with this? I don't know. I think if we want D&D to have enemies. We need villains.
Mhm.
And some of the worst villains there are villains that do bad things.
Yep.
Like enslave people, and rising up against it is one of the most courageous things that you can do. So, I mean, do we need it? No, we don't need to have things like that in a game. But I think having it in there as an option can also be cool too, you know. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I guess that's more like 10 cents really, but so yeah. So guys, check it out. The Spelljamming box set is pretty cool. There's 3 big books in it. One is about the setting, one is about the books, and I think the other one is what? One is about, yeah, one is like a bestiary, one
is the menagerie, one is the Light of Zaraxis, which is the adventure,
and then the other one
the
is
Astral Adventurer's Guide.
Right, about the setting itself. So yeah, I mean, there's rules about ship to ship combat. There's rules about the different kinds of magic spaceships that you can get. There's rules about descriptions about the couple of different like cities and different places you can go, and then you could all just use it as a way to go from world to world. And I think that's pretty neat too. So, shall we move on?
Sure. So I can talk a little bit about, this is just me nerding out about curling, but I had a blast at the curling camp. Hot Shots curling camp in Ontario was just so much fun. And I think it helped me tremendously overall with my curling game. We did like a bunch of drills and everything like that, and then we had some one-on-one coaching. And the coach we had was one of the people that we hadn't actually had as one of our instructors before for our group, because we had like a group of 4 people. And her name was Kim, really nice lady, a lot of fun. And she basically asked each of us in our one-on-one, so like, you know, what is it you want to work on? And I'm like, I want to work on my delivery. I feel off balance and everything. I you know, topping, you know, heading a little top heavy moving forward. And she's like, okay, show me your delivery. And she watched it once, had me get back into the hack right away, and said, okay, do this, and now try it. And I did those 2 things, and holy shit, did it change everything about my delivery. I felt solid. I felt balanced. I felt so much better about everything. I'm like, holy shit. All it took was her watching me once to see what I was doing wrong.
Wow. That's incredible. That's really impressive.
And so I'm like, this was totally worth it. Renee and I are talking about going again, either next year or the year after, because we learned so much from it, and there's so much more we could learn.
That's really awesome, man.
Yeah,
cool.
So
I'm sorry, I'm scanning. I'm just looking for more stuff to talk about, and I'm scanning like pictures from Dragon Con that one of my friends posted. Jesus. Really, some of the costumes and I mean, I'm just scanning through a bunch of costuming shots.
I saw some of the Wakefire posts, but I didn't see really any of the pictures or anything. So,
I mean, there was mind-bogglingly like nuts. Some of these things, the creativity that people choose to do, the characters that they choose is really impressive. Like, just like, holy shit, I never would have thought of that particular thing.
That's one of the things we can mention. Dragon Con was this weekend. Dragon Con is amazing. I want to go someday.
Maybe you and I should plan on going next year, because no longer
we should plan right now.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, for sure. Let's see, the drag is, I might be working if Linda gets the contract for Ohio, this would be the opening weekend for it, and I would be probably going down to help with that. But we'll see. Dragon Con is, it's for those guys who don't know. I mean, anybody listening to the show should know what Dragon Con is. It is the biggest sci-fi fantasy convention in
the Eastern
world.
U.S.
Well, in the U.S. at least, if not the world. It is massive and awesome.
I mean, it's not San Diego Comic-Con.
No, but it's different because San Diego Comic-Con is an expo. This is more of a hotel con.
Yeah.
Similar to the ones that we went to when we were younger. It's
a multi-hotel con.
It's multi-hotels, yeah, for sure. It's just like some really incredible stuff, and it's known specifically for its cosplay.
Yes, people
more than any other convention. I mean, you see cosplay at any con these days, but Dragon Con is like the Olympics for it. It is the most amazing cosplay you're ever going to see. Do me a favor, put on sharing. Enable sharing.
Okay, hold on.
I want to show this. I want to show this to you a little bit and see if we can maybe get it up for the.
It's not going to work real good on the screen though. All right, that's the problem. Is that screen share won't work because of. Actually, it's already set to where you can share.
Okay. I tried. No, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Huh. It says that one participant can share.
Yeah, you probably.
Oh, hold on. Oh, well, yeah, it says I can share. All right, there.
All right, so I'm going to show you just these real quick. If our lovely people can see it as well, then great. But so I'm just going to scan through these real quick. Now, my friend Jeff is a big fan of Fallout.
I have no idea how this is showing up on this. Hold on, let me. Where is?
Oh yeah, they can see it a little bit. They can see it a bit.
All right, I'm looking there. No, okay.
So here we got
sort of, yeah. It's all fucked up, but yeah.
The boys. We'll just do this for a minute. For the boys, like a lot of stuff from Fallout, like this is
Chairman from
that's Chairface Chippendale.
Yeah,
from the Tick.
From the Tick, yep.
A more Fallout. This is, look at that power armor from Fallout. That's incredible. Another character from Fallout. More characters from Fallout. Look at this guy did the zombie makeup. Okay, obviously the Borg.
Yep.
We got characters from the Mummy. These are people I know actually.
That's a lot of rivets.
Yeah. So Dragon Con. So I was telling Stella, I was saying more Dragon or more Fallout stuff. I was telling Stella, look at this. Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones the Temple of Doom. I was telling Stella, maybe we should go to Dragon Con next year, and maybe I should go. And she goes, well, maybe I could go too. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you might. I think you'd have fun, but this is a reverse gender Storm costume from the X-Men. Dracula, a God of War, a contestant
Jeopardy.
From Jeopardy. I mean, more Fallout. Little Shop of Horrors. Moon Knight. Holy crap! They got a guy on stilts to be Khonshu.
Yep.
This is from
Squid Games.
Yeah.
Monty Python.
Monty Python. I don't know what this is from. We got from The Incredibles.
No capes.
No capes. No capes.
More Incredibles.
Frozone from The Incredibles. Angel from the X-Men. They got to meet Guillermo. They got to meet the Doctor from the Orville, and Penny Johnson, Gerald. She was also on DS9. I mean, I don't know who that is.
That's Zorro.
Yeah, but he's in gold, so
yeah.
Maybe Zorro the Gay Blade or something.
I think so. Yeah.
Sure. Doc Holliday.
Yep.
Oh, he's Doc Holliday because he's got the little cup.
Yep.
See, he's got the little cup in his hand. Got a Skeksis, it looks like. Not sure what this is. Look at. I mean, just this. That
was Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it was a Beetlejuice worm, sandworm. This is, Just it's
Oh,
incredible.
I've seen that before.
Buddy, that was from the Elden Ring. This is from Elden Ring, I think.
Yeah.
Character from Elden Ring.
Oh, what's her name? Jessica Neary did one that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
She's amazing. She's an amazing cosplay artist.
Oh, she's incredible. Yeah. Hancock.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody just like
start giving bad advice. Michael Myers.
Michael Myers. He obviously brought his own bush with him. You know, Willy Wonka and a
Oompa Loompa.
Oompa Loompa. You got
Skeletor.
You got Skeletor and a femme version of Princess Adama.
Yeah.
Look at this. The characters from this is from Death Becomes Her.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. I mean,
Nick Fury.
Coca-Cola again. So we got from What We Do in the Shadows. Again, What We Do in the Shadows. Just, jeez, now that's kind of disturbing. Doc Ock, Moon Knight again. I'm not sure what that is.
That's disturbing.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff you're saying, The Matrix, pretty good Matrix. I mean, some of the things that you see at Dragon Con too, like I hear the parties are, that's the end. So I hear the parties are off the hook. I mean, like craziness. So I really would like to go someday. Now that I'm not working the Michigan Ren Fair anymore. My Labor Day weekends are open again. It is Thursday through Monday I believe Monday. A lot of the people I know that were there were coming back on Monday, but it's just.
I have a feeling it's Thursday through Sunday, and then Monday's a travel day.
Probably. I mean, they have these huge group photo shoots where they will take everybody within a category and then they take big pictures. They used to do big picture, big shoot, like everybody that was a DC character, big photo. Everybody that's a Marvel character, photo shoot. Everybody that's from Skyrim, everything that's from Fallout, everybody that's from any, these various video games. And they also have a huge cosplay parade that goes down like the main street in Atlanta. And the city of Atlanta is like all about it too. I mean, the city doesn't fight it because Dragon Con brings millions of dollars to the city every year. It's really amazing. And it's packed. Tens of thousands of people go every year. And I want to go. I got to go.
Yep.
We got to go. This is a bucket list kind of situation, man. We got to do this.
Well, it's kind of like, that's what San Diego Comic-Con is too. It's a bucket list thing. I want to go to San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, thankfully, Dragon Con is a little more doable. I mean, it's not, San Diego Comic-Con, man, you're lucky you can get a ticket to that thing.
From what I've heard, Dragon Con is too. You have to plan a year ahead.
You do. I mean, you got to find it. You got to make reservations for where you're staying because every hotel in the city is packed.
Yep.
With people from there. So, anyways, it's something else, man. So one of these days, guys, check out Dragon Con. Honestly, just doing like a Google image search of cosplay from Dragon Con, you'll see some amazing cosplay. Just some of the most creative stuff.
If you wait,
plays and
I would say if you wait like 2 days, there'll probably be a bunch of stuff on YouTube too, showing off.
Oh, for sure,
cosplays.
For sure, there's videos usually, because people will go and they'll shoot video, and I love it. I love the fact I love trying to recognize. And the nice thing, like what they are. The nice thing at Dragon Con too is that it's not all just one thing. Like at YomaCon, you'll see some great cosplay, but it's almost all anime, and I don't know a lot of those characters.
Renee is going to YumaCon for the first time in a long time this year.
Yeah.
Her and a bunch of her friends are going.
Okay.
And they're all cosplaying characters from Clue.
Nice.
The movie.
Nice.
And
that's cool. That's the thing too. I mean, Yoma has traditionally been an anime convention, but it is branching off, and it is starting to. Other things are starting to seep in. So if you do go and you go for the cosplay, you're going to see a lot more than just anime. But like I said again, at the anime cons, I don't really recognize a lot of those characters because I just don't watch a whole lot of anime.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's going. She's all excited. She's doing Professor Plum, a reverse gender Professor Plum.
Nice. Cool.
They actually asked if I wanted to go and be Mr. Green, and
Miss
I said
Scarlet.
no. I was going to be Mr. Green, but I said no. I have other things going on that weekend. Sorry, I can't make it that because they're going on Saturday, and that's the first Saturday of our Learn to Curl.
It's
And
also a Halloween. It's also Halloween weekend always.
it's the weekend after.
Oh, is it?
It's the first weekend in November.
Interesting. I mean, I think it depends on when Morgan organizes it. I think it depends on kind of how the weekends fall.
Yeah, well, two of the people that I work with are big into working it, and both of them said this is the first time in a long time it's not falling on Halloween weekend, which they love.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, Halloween falls on a Monday this year, so Halloween weekend is the 28th, 29th, 30th, 30th. Okay. So yeah, it'll be the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of November. Hey man, no, Youmacon is a cool convention. It's crazy busy though,
Now,
too. There's a
and
lot.
I will say this: one of the things that's weird, and I've only experienced this really one time, where it's been like crazy amount, and that was when Renee and I went to Fandom Fest, and we dressed up in our steampunk outfits, and we walked into the vendor hall, and it took us 20 minutes to go 20 feet because people just kept stopping us to take our picture.
Oh yeah. That is a phenomenon.
And it's one of those things where at a steampunk convention, yeah, we just kind of blend in with everyone else. Right. I mean, yes, Renee's costume is absolutely fucking amazing compared to a lot of the costumes I see, and it's all stuff she made, and everyone tends to love it. But you see so many others. There's not a lot of people that are just taking pictures. When you're at a multimedia convention, which Fandom Fest was, which was sci-fi, fantasy, horror, it was comics, it was basically everything. And you show up in really
like
cool
Motor City, like Motor City Comic Con or something.
And you show up in like really cool steampunk outfits. People are like, "Oh, that's really cool. Let me get a picture of that." And then you get like 20 other people that jump in and start snapping pictures with their phones, and you move 5 feet, and then another 20 people stop you to get pictures.
Yeah. It is definitely difficult. It's one of those things. It's the risk you take when you go in costume. When I was at Motor City Comic Con, I ran into a bunch of my friends, some former festival fairies and two friends and their hangers on, and they all came dressed as some particular like animated show that was on YouTube. It became famous on YouTube, and they're all like a bunch of like demons, and I could not tell you what they are right now, but they were so recognizable, and they looked great, and they were so recognizable. The time I was standing there talking to them, they had, at least 30 people came. Can I get your picture? Can I get your picture? And I'm like, wow, you guys need like a handler, because it was, and every time people were very cool. They were like, hey, yeah, go ahead, take your pictures, and I would get out of the way, and we'd have another 10 seconds of conversation, and then step back, here, I'll take the picture for you. Click again. It's the risk you take when you go to a con in awesome garb. You just
Renee and I actually had one of the vendors bitch at us because we were blocking his booth. Yeah, like, hey, we got asked to stop.
Yeah. So I think there is a level of polite, when you can, after a few minutes of being in the same place, you're like, guys, I'm done taking pictures now. It's like, everybody, thank you. Or, a lot of people will just be like, they'll spend all day just having pictures taken of themselves, and I think, that's
that's the thing. I think you got to kind of learn as you go, because Renee and I had never had that before. So it was one of those, we had to actually, at one point, Renee's like, I need to go to the bathroom. And so it's like, all right, let's go. It's like, sorry, we can't take pictures right now. Find us later.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, we've had enough, you
Yep.
know. And so like maybe if you do go to a con and you decide to be in really awesome garb, maybe you choose to go like wear it for a certain amount of time and then go and change into something else. Even if you're even if you change into a different costume, maybe it's like a little less, you know, a
flamboyant.
little awesome.
Yeah.
A little less awesome.
And the thing with that is that that's easier to do if you're actually in the same hotel. If you're not in the same hotel, which a lot of these large cons, you might be 10 minutes away.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the way it is a lot.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, that's the way it is a lot with some of the bigger cons, like YomaCon. You can stay at the Rensen, but or like there's several hotels. There's one right next door, and there's a couple. But there's another hotel that's, you know, half a mile down the street. Now it's not far, but it's still, if you're going to do that, it's still like, it's okay, I gotta hike all the way down there, or grab a you know, quick ride down to a half a mile away, go back up to your room, change, back.
Dragon Con's the same way. There's like 8 hotels in downtown Atlanta that host Dragon Con.
Well, they host like to stay.
Right.
But most of the Dragon Con stuff is still in one central, one main like hall or hotel or whatever the fuck it is.
Right. So a lot of times you have to plan your cosplay. It's like, all right, I'm going as this today, period. I'm not going back to change, nothing like that.
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's a choice, man. It's a choice. At least if you go to something like Dragon Con, it's expected that you're going to have pictures taken of you for hours and hours and hours. Particularly if you have, particularly if a very iconic costume. If you and your friends go to the Comic-Con or to Dragon Con and you're all dressed in as the cast from Spaceballs, you're going to get people taking pictures of you. You know, I've also heard too that there's a lot of, and you don't see this as much in some of the, like, you know, if people are just like taking random pictures, but there's a lot of like hot girl costumes too.
Yeah.
You see a lot of women like, and guys now too, actually showing up and just like wearing in dare to wear costumes too. So that's a thing. Like I've seen a few videos on YouTube where they specifically, where they specifically take like a lot, you know, they center on all the hot girls, you know.
Well, I see a lot like around the pools and stuff like that too.
That too, because there's like Kalahari, which is like there's one of the conventions that they have at, I think it's at the, you know, the water park hotel kind of resort in Ohio, Kalahari, where it's specifically a pool party. So you're supposed to do cosplay around the pool, and so there's a lot of like I said, you know, cosplay bikinis and cosplay bathing suits and stuff like that, which that's kind of cool too, because that's creative. That makes it so like, oh, you know, you're not just copying something from a TV show or a movie. You're taking that character and you're putting a spin on it. I like it. That's pretty cool. I like that. Just in a similar fashion to making a steampunk version of a character.
Yep.
You know, it's like this is that character's bathing suit.
All right, we should move on though. You said you had some comic book news?
I got a few things here. Let's see. Okay, so Warner Brothers
shows.
What's that?
Before we get into
we got to get to those TV shows. So Warner Brothers Discovery has canceled the DC Fandom because they were doing, for the last couple of years, they've been doing these online things that were actually pretty cool. They were,
I liked
like,
Fandom.
kind of like a mini, I think like an hour and a half special. There were a few of them. I think the first one was like an all-day thing actually, where they had interviews and there was like maybe 4 hours of content that they kept rerunning. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty, I mean, I liked it. It was just spotlighting a lot of the TV shows and movies and cartoons and stuff that were coming out. And then they were talking about some of the comic book stuff too. But looks like Warner Brothers Discovery has put Nick's.
What a surprise.
Kel Surprise, you know. The online convention launched in August of 2020 to celebrate DC Comics, films, TV, and game adaptations. It was meant to take the place of in-person events in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Although some convention organizers are continuing with online-only events and others are using hybrid models, there's been a mass movement towards returning to exclusively in-person events in 22. So because of that, DC has decided, or Warner Brothers has decided to nix the Fandom. I think it's a shame because it was kind of a cool thing, but I do like the fact that we are getting at least somewhat back to normal on a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, but to me, it's just one more thing that the Warner Brothers Discovery is doing to just screw over fans.
Yeah. It has been fucked. I mean, they're doing a lot of things. There's a lot of people. There's a big push for them to release that Batgirl movie.
Mm-hmm.
I even Brendan Fraser, who's kind of like a darling of Hollywood right now, he's pushing for it too. He's like, guys, can't we get it out there? I think it's, so people are, pretty bummed out that this has not happened. Speaking of Brendan Fraser, his new role that he is in the movie The Whale, the movie itself is getting praised across the board. People are loving it. It's Darren Aronofsky's new movie, The Whale. It tells the story of a housebound man suffering from severe obesity and who is trying to reconnect with his teenage daughter that he more or less abandoned when he left his wife for like a male lover or something like that, or a student that he was teaching or something like that. So like the guy basically comes out of realizes he's gay, leaves his wife and kid for this guy. And then I guess when the guy leaves him or whatever, he ends up eating his feelings and gains like 600 pounds. It becomes a 600-pound man. And so Brendan Fraser wore a fat suit for the role. He wore prosthetics and everything. And people are saying that it's like a tour de force, that we're going to probably see Oscar nods. We're going to see some really great stuff. The girl who plays the daughter is, I think, the redhead in Stranger Things. She's the
Max
came in, and Max, the girl that came in second season. And but I tell you, Brendan Fraser, I mean, he looks, the makeup is of course amazing, and you can see it's him, because it's like he's definitely wearing cheek appliques and neck and stuff like that, but you can still see it's him, and he's acting through it and everything. And I've always liked Brendan Fraser. He was one of those, Stella and I were talking about him last night when I was reading an article about this, that he was one of the actors that got really screwed over by Harvey Weinstein, and by coming forward after he got sexually harassed. I think it was sexually harassed on set, and he kind of got, or by some producers, and because he came forward about it, and they kind of blackballed him for a while. And then he had some problems with an ex that took a lot of money, and all the details. But Brendan Fraser was kind of out of the public eye for a good 10 years. And within the last couple of years, he's been coming back. He's been making a slow comeback, and everything that he's doing has been really great. So it's great to see Brendan Fraser back, on his way back. So the movie comes out in November, I believe. So we're a little ways away. It's going to be in theaters. But for those of you guys, I mean, this is not exactly a nerdy kind of thing to talk about, but it looks like it's going to be a hell of a movie for it. So looking forward. We're going to catch it. The other couple of things I have are very comic book heavy. Apparently, Tim Roth. Oh, well, we'll talk about that when we talk about She-Hulk. The rest of this stuff is a little more discussion oriented, not so much a quick hit.
Well, one of the things I wanted to say was I have finished the main story in Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, congratulations.
127 hours.
Wow. That's not bad.
What's that?
That's not bad. It's not some of my playthroughs of Skyrim, but it's still pretty goddamn good.
There are still a lot of things. There are still some things I need to go back and finish.
Okay, the main story.
But the main storyline I have finished.
Yeah.
like I still got to finish up some of the rebel camps and some of that storyline. But and I got to get some of the like collectibles things. I haven't finished all those.
I skipped some of that stuff.
Yeah, but the main storyline I did finish, and dude, it is fucking incredible. It is all set up for a third one.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep, they set it up completely. Like even more so than at the end of the last one where they said, you know, it was kind of open-ended and all this. No, this one is there's going to be more.
Oh, right on. All right, that's great. It's probably one of the next ones I'm going to play. I've been playing Shadow of War. I'm enjoying that a great deal. It's the Lord of the Rings game, you know, during the War of the Ring. I'm really enjoying it. I'm about a third through the main storyline. I am enjoying it a lot. I don't know if I will purchase the expansions, mainly because I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but I'd really like to move on to something else when I'm done. It depends on how I feel when I'm done with the game. But yeah, I'm about a third of the way through, and it's great. It's a fucking great game.
And I had a friend tell me tonight that I need to get back to Cyberpunk.
You do.
Because the latest patches have made it so that it is a totally different game and that it is really cool now, and that I need to not even like go back and play my old games, but just kind of start over. And yeah.
I was kind of waiting. I was hoping to wait until the first DLC came out, but I really want to get back into that game too.
From what he said is that they're talking, so they did patch 1.5 and now they're saying 1.6 is coming, and now they're starting to talk DLC.
Right. Well, the interesting thing too is I haven't played the PS5 version of it. I played through the whole thing, playing it as the PS4 version on my PS5, and it was pretty beautiful and souped up. But I am looking forward to playing it on the PS4.
I played through a good chunk of it on my computer and then stopped. And then went back and started over with a different character. So instead of doing this, the street kid, I went Corpo, and he said actually the street kid has been like nerfed.
Thank you.
That the street kid is not something to play anymore. He said either play Corpo or Nomad.
Really?
Yeah, he said the street kid it just sucks now.
Well, the interesting thing is too. I mean, honestly, I played a Nomad. But from what I understand, there's really not a ton of difference among the origins.
It's how you get treated in certain situations.
Right. Yes. But still, there's not, I mean, overall, you still do the same missions, you do still the same, you know, either way. But yeah, there is like, I mean, if you're a corpo and you go into like, well, a couple of different settings. If you're in like this one bar where Jackie hung out and stuff, they might treat you a little bit differently.
The street kids get treated differently. The street kids get treated a lot differently at the beginning, because you're in all those places where you would have been as you came up.
Right.
But with the corpos, you know more about the corporate world,
right?
Even though you're technically out of it. That's the whole thing, is that you're an ex-corpo,
right? Yeah, you're basically have been fired or been let go or whatever. Yeah. So,
which is what my current player character is, but I mean, I'm gonna restart her. So
I'm gonna probably play a corpo, and I'll probably play a female character this time.
That's what I did. I my corpo is a female.
To be interesting to see the difference in gameplay that way too. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back in that game too. So game.
I also finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah, you watched all the way to the end. What do you think?
It was kind of sad at the end.
It was.
I mean, that was actually more emotional than I expected at the end.
Right. Me too. I was like,
their last season was very much a political commentary.
Oh yeah. Well, it was right after, it was during BLM and during the beginning of Black Lives Matter and that big movement.
Well, and the whole thing with Rosa quitting the force because of the way that people that looked like her were treated. And...
Right. Well, they basically said, because of that, they had written the entire last season. And because of the things that were going on at the time, they went, oh, okay, that's going to go. We're just going to throw that away. And they started from scratch.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, this should be cool. To see a comedy, a sitcom, address that on that level was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, the whole thing about changing how they were policing.
Yeah. I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of the better comedic shows we've seen in the last year. I mean, it was on the top 100 list. I can't remember what it was. It was above 50. It wasn't under 50, but it was still up there with like some of the better, if I remember correctly, it was still one of the better ones that we watched in a long time.
Renee was like, you just burned through that. I said, yeah, it was good. I didn't like it when it first came out. When it was first on, I wanted to watch it and I wanted to like it, and I didn't.
Right.
I only watched a couple episodes and I'm like, nope, this just isn't grabbing me. I didn't like Andy Samberg. And then with what you've said and what I've heard about it, over the years, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it another shot when I can binge it. And I watched multiple episodes, and I was watching them like I would go to bed and I'd put headphones on and lay in bed and watch it on my phone. And I'd watch an episode before I went to bed, before I went to sleep. It was my nightly de-stress ritual, was watch an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. When I got near the end, I saw that the last episode was like 46 minutes because it's actually a 2-part episode. And so I'm like, today I watched the last 3 episodes of it, and because I had the time, and I'm like, I don't want to watch the last episode in bed. I want to actually just finish this. And honestly, it really was a great show. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought I really enjoyed a lot of the characters. I still think Jake is one of my least favorite characters on the show. But
I would have to agree, honestly. I mean, I liked most of the other. I liked like Rosa.
Rosa's fantastic.
Terry,
Terry's great.
The captain.
Captain Holt is fantastic. I mean, and him at the end, even with the, not bad for a robot. Beep, bop, boop.
More,
yeah. Like, which is exactly what Peralta did at the beginning.
All the way to the very first, yeah.
I mean, all the stuff that they pulled back from early on. And then the whole thing with the heist over and over and over, and like that's what they were doing for the end, was the heist. And then at the end, it shows that Terry is now the captain, and Peralta shows up and he's like, nope, we're doing the heist every year.
Yeah. That was freaking great. I mean, I just absolutely adored the show, and it was brilliant. It was one of the smartest. It was easily one of the smartest sitcoms that we've had in decades. Yeah. Well, at least in the last 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
And the only one of the bigger drags about that show was just the fact that it was kind of danced around a lot. I mean, it was hard to the last like 2 or 3 seasons, because I think it actually changed networks, because I think it was on Fox and then it went.
It's all NBC. Because every single one of them, every single episode started with the peacock. Do do do.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. It was made by an NBC studio, but I think the first couple of seasons it was on Fox. It was on, and then it moved, because then Fox canceled it, but then NBC went, no, we'll take it now. I could have swore that was the issue. I don't know. I could be mistaken, but I think that's what happened. And but again, just a ton of fun, fucking ton of fun. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh, I was gonna say to jump back to video games.
It looks like it did switch between Fox and NBC. Yeah.
Last of Us, the remake of Last of Us Part 1 has came out this weekend, pretty much. I think it was Thursday or so. It came out on the 1st. Going to be picking that up real soon. It's looking gorgeous. For those of you guys who are into The Last of Us, you might want to actually pick this up. Even if you've defeated the game, played the first game, played the second game, the
frustrated with the first game.
Amazing. What's that?
I got frustrated with the first game.
I know you got frustrated. So anyway, we should move on.
Yes.
To She-Hulk.
Well, let's talk real quick. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power started this weekend. Yes. I have not watched it yet.
Me neither.
I've heard that the first 2 episodes that dropped are all set up, but that it gets much better afterwards. So stick with it.
I have heard that as well. And I've heard it's beautiful, and it's real. I've heard it's really good. Like the thing about like House of the Dragon, I've heard a number of people like I have heard that the second episode is better than the first one. I haven't watched the second episode yet. But I heard a lot of people kind of gripe and bitch and moan about it. I have heard nobody say negative things about the new Lord of the Rings show.
So House of the Dragon real quick too. I've watched the first 2 episodes. I haven't watched this week's, the 3rd episode. But the first 2 episodes, I'm on the fence on it. It's one of those where I had somebody tell me, "Oh, I think it's like, it's like early Game of Thrones. It's not like the later Game of Thrones." And honestly, I think it's much more like season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones is what I'm getting the feeling for. Mm-hmm. I am not overly impressed with it so far.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was pretty, and I thought it's got potential, but I'm not overly impressed yet. But once again, I've only watched the first episode. I haven't watched the second or third yet.
Yeah. I honestly think that it's kind of meh so far. So we'll see if it gets better. I'm going to continue watching it. I'll give it the first season, see how it goes from there. And I'll take it from there. But She-Hulk, holy shit.
Just keeps getting better.
Yeah, so we've got 2 episodes to talk about in She-Hulk.
Yes.
Because we only talked about the first episode. First episode was great. Second and third episodes, fucking fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Second episode. So the first episode was obviously the pilot, and we had this great setup with the relationship between Bruce and Jen. We saw her get her powers. We saw them develop, figure out
her do Hulk training.
The Hulk training stuff, which was great. We saw the fight.
The Hulk fight, that was great.
So good. We saw a little bit of fight in the courtroom. It was a little
that was lame.
A little bit, but what do you get? It can't all be roses, man. And so
it's the MCU, it can all be roses.
Nah. But it was some really, really fun stuff. In the second episode, like I said, and there was a lot of setup. In the second episode, we see her get a new job.
She gets fired.
Because she got fired. She got fired from being an assistant district attorney.
That was really funny. So she's She-Hulk in the bar because that's what everyone wants.
Right.
And so she's drinking and everything. And then her boss comes in. Yeah. And her boss comes in and is like, can you just change back? This is a serious conversation. So she's like, oh, sure. And she falls off the bar stool.
Right. Because she still had so much booze in her system. She didn't give her metabolism enough time to process it.
And she gets up and she's like, oh, different metabolism.
Yeah. Metabolism. So, that explains that a little bit. So he fires her, and he's like, I'm sorry, you're a liability now. We can't have, yes, you did the right thing. You saved those people.
You saved the people, but they filed for a mistrial because it was the tainted jury. Now they'd be on your side. Right.
Exactly. Which, that's totally would make sense, So, so she has to find a new job, and she's asking around. She's a very qualified, attorney, and she can't find anybody that is willing to take her on because she's dangerous, because
she's a She-Hulk.
She's the She-Hulk. Until she comes across a representative of the guy, actually, the people that were representing the company she was
GLK&H.
GLK&H, which is Goodman, Lieber, Kirby, and Holloway.
Yes.
Which is all referenced to references to the original, some of the original creators of Marvel Comics.
Mhm.
Goodman, Lieber is Stan Lee's originally name, and Kirby were some of the early guys that started in the 60s. I think Goodman was actually one of the guys that created them in the 40s. Actually, no, Kirby was in the 40s too, but it became a little more kind of did a lot more. Just became a little more well known in the 60s when
well, Lee and Kirby were the team.
They were the team. They were the dream team back in the 40s, and they continued to work together in the 60s when Marvel got its resurgence in 61. So and then Holloway is, I can't remember if that is actually a creator or if they kind of squeezed that in for the character for Mr. Holloway at the end. So he contacts her, and he contacts Jen and says, I want you to run, we're going to give you a job.
Yep.
And she's like, shows up in her business suit, she's ready to go. And he's like, yeah, okay, so you're going to be running our
superpower,
our superhuman division, our superhuman law
division. And you have to come in as She-Hulk every day.
Yeah. Now, I love the fact that her suit, her pantsuit she was wearing, which looked very professional and very, like fit her, but it was kind of big on her, seemed kind of big on her. But when she hulked out, it became form-fitting, shall we say. Her pants went from being pants to being like pants that came up to her calf, instead. Yeah. And so I thought that's a cool attention to detail. She didn't have another suit, another outfit to wear. So I was like, it's pretty cool. And you could tell that she's uncomfortable with the whole idea and was probably going to bail, but she figured out that this is particularly after she got her first case. She's like, I think I could do this.
Well, and her first case is to get Emil Blonsky out on parole.
Yeah, get him on parole. Because honestly, he got railroaded by the system.
Which they go into in there. They don't talk about it originally, and she's like, I have a conflict of interest on this. He tried to kill my cousin. Oh, well, he signed a waiver.
Yeah, totally fine with it.
And then she calls Bruce.
Yeah.
That was the best part of that entire show was her calling Bruce and him talking and saying, I've moved on. It
happened so long ago.
It was so long ago. I'm a totally different person now, literally.
Right. Yeah, which is in reference to the fact that Edward Norton played the Hulk and Bruce Banner in the Incredible Hulk movie, which was the second movie in the MCU, in the MCU. Yep. And Mark Ruffalo took over as the Hulk in the Avengers. It was absolutely genius. It was so fun.
Him doing the way he did it too. Just, I'm a different person now, literally.
And oh my god, freaking hilarious! I was like, oh my god, that's so good. But I did like the fact that they did reference that movie. The fact that as the Abomination, Blonsky flipped out. He and Hulk, between the two of them, took out of a pretty good chunk of Harlem, and they did a lot of damage. But it was cool that they talked about Blonsky's origins, about the fact
and
that
how they pumped me full of this super soldier serum, and I was going to be a patriot. And
I thought I was going to be Captain America, and instead with the British accent, and I thought I was going to be Captain America, and then he,
and when she first gets to him, he's like, "Namaste."
Yeah. Oh my god. So that's one of the funnier things too, is that they really leaned into he's really did the whole rehabilitation thing. He's made good time in them. So then she figures out, she's like, I've got a case here. That's pretty cool. And then she finds out, and then she calls the boss. The boss is like, are you in? And she's like, yeah, I've got it. I've got a strategy, and I'm in here. I'm in it to win.
100%, it's gonna work.
100%, it's gonna work. And he's like, well, you might want to turn on the TV. And then you see that the footage from Shang-Chi, he's in the underground fight club, and that he obviously had escaped at some point.
Yep.
And they're like,
that's where episode 2 ended.
Right. So we were doing it, and then the end credit scene was her at her parents' house, obviously helping them with everything.
Well, we had done the whole parents thing before that too. That she did the whole dinner thing, which that's one of the other things I was going to bring up. Did you see who her father is?
Absolutely, it's cousin Larry.
Yeah, cousin Larry.
From Perfect Strangers. Fucking A, dude. I was like, it's cousin Larry.
It's cousin Larry.
It's cousin Larry. From Perfect Strangers. Yeah. I
love that show.
If Bronson Pinchot doesn't show up at some point, I'm going to be very upset. I just want to see Bronson with a little
Pinchot.
Twist. What's that?
With a little twist. You love it.
I just want to, I mean, dude, if he doesn't show up at some point, I'm going to be upset. But I like the fact that I like the fact that her dad got it. Like everybody else in her family was like kind of oblivious. You know, she kept trying to, her mother kept trying to set her up with whatever, and her cousins being an asshole, and
her heard you got fired.
No, heard you got fired. And but her dad, like, he's like, hey, could you help me with something out here? And he was just like, hey, I just want to get you out of there so we could talk. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Dad gets it. He's in. He's you know, he's, hey, this isn't the first time we've got a Hulk in the family. You know, I mean, I love the fact that they're kind of normalizing it. I mean, there's at this point, there's two Hulks. There's the Hulk and Abomination.
Yep.
But they're still like, hey, yeah, she's a Hulk. Like it's common, you know, like, like, oh yeah, we've seen these guys before, you know. She's the third one, you know. It's like, but I still like that. I thought they were cool. I like how they're almost referring to it like it's a condition, as opposed to
you caught the Hulk.
You caught the Hulk. Oh, did you hear about cousin Jen? Yeah,
she got the Hulk.
Yeah. She's going through treatment, you know, it's looking pretty good, but you know.
Well,
don't get her angry.
Well, I also liked her first day at the law firm. Yeah. And the one guy comes in who's in her department and he gives her the gift basket.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's, you know, it's this and this and this, and this is a map to the best bathroom to poop in.
Yeah. That guy's kind of odd looking. He's kind of cool, but kind of odd looking. I think he was in the Arrowverse somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. I think it was on Arrow. But he's got a really interesting look.
Yeah.
And,
but I'm like, that's gold.
Oh yeah, totally. Totally hilarious. And then I like that she was able to she brought in her own paralegal, who's her best friend Nikki, and
that was the thing. Okay, I'll do it, but I have to choose my own paralegal, and the dude's like, I don't give a shit who you pick as your paralegal. Who you bring in.
Nobody cares here. Okay then. And I'm still loving the fourth wall breaks are fantastic.
Oh yeah,
they really are. I mean, they're not too invasive. They're not distracting. They're just really fun.
There's the one where she's talking, and then all of a sudden she turns back, and he had asked her something, and she just responds, and she's like, "I'm going to spend the next year figuring out what I just agreed to."
Yeah.
And so you know that's going to come back,
right? So, moving on to the third episode.
Yes.
We had, you know, she figured out. She went to talk to Blonsky, and she's like, great, you know, you escaped? He's like, yeah, but I came back. And she's like, but you escaped, and that's going to ruin it.
I didn't have a choice.
He's like, I didn't have a choice. I basically got kidnapped. I got yanked out.
This guy showed up, said, you're coming with me.
Yeah. And she's like, and then so she contacts Nikki, and he's like, Wong on Instagram. Pulls up his Instagram page. Either the master of the mystic arts in New York, or he's a librarian in Carmitage. I don't know. And
the thirst trap thing was hilarious.
The thirst trap. It's just me and a bunch of books. I'm like, and I love that later he's like, I got your message. You know, I was like, I wonder what was the fucking message, buddy. And then she's like, but it was funny too, because as an aside, before that happens, she finds out that one of the DAs, the douchebag DA that was introduced in the first episode, he's coming to their firm because he needs help suing.
And his guardian shape changer.
Suing his ex-girlfriend, who turns out to was a shape changer from Asgard. Yeah, a light elf shape shifter from Asgard. who pretended to be Megan Thee Stallion. And she's all like, and this guy is such a fucking idiot. And I loved how she walks in the room and he's like, no. And I mean, the dude is a screaming douchebag. And he's like, no, I can't work with her. You know, we've got history, blah, blah, blah. And she's
I'll take
like,
that guy.
fine. And that guy, I'll take this guy. But she's all like, wait a minute. You thought you could pull Megan Thee Stallion? You multiple Grammy Award. How was I supposed to know she was a shapeshifter? Oh, because she was driving a Prius.
Well, you bought her a like a mid-size sedan.
Yeah, I love it how he's like, I'm just gonna throw a number out there, and you just tell me if it was 100,000, 200,000. Oh, come on, I'm not that crazy. I'm not stupid.
175.
175. You know? And it's like, that's a full house in some parts of the country. and he's laughing like, yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, now lawyers do well.
And
but
lawyers in New York tend to do very well.
Yeah, but he's a DA in LA. Okay. And like I said, DAs do all right. But they're not.
Yeah, that's right. They're in LA.
Yeah, they're in LA. They're not bringing in like
$500,000 a year.
$500,000 a year, right? They're bringing in like 100, 200,000. They do okay, but they're not bringing in, and he's throwing that much fucking loot her way. What, you dude? What the hell? But I loved how and so he's they're in the conversation, they're talking, and it's all. And then that's when Wong comes in, and he's like, "I got your message." And then she's like, "I have to take this." He's like, and then he reiterates. He's like, "Yep, everything ML said is right." And I took him. I needed a proper opponent for my rise to Sorcerer Supreme, and so he was able to reiterate it. And I left out. He's like, yes, I'm not making everybody forget everything again. That's a big mess. And I'm like, so they just reference Spider-Man? Awesome. So good. So yeah. So then fast forward to like the trial itself, to his parole hearing. And they're like, and she wants Wong to testify, but the guy doesn't.
He's like, oh yeah, I will.
Yeah, I will. And he's late. So she's got all these other people testifying for Blonsky first. I mean, he speaks and then everybody else. And I don't know. I like the way Tim Roth was playing Blonsky as this kind of like, he's almost too mellow.
Well, and then he turned into Abomination.
Oh yeah, at the end. Yeah. He's like, because they're like, well, what if what's to stop you from turning into the Abomination again? And he's like, oh, hey, let me just put your mind at ease. And she's like, no. And he changes, and everybody freaks.
Yep.
Like they're screaming in fear and terror. And he's like, calm down, everybody.
And then she's like, change back.
Change back now. And she's like, listen, guys. I mean, this is after, Wong testifies and everything. And she's like, listen, guys, he could have changed at any time and escaped and gotten out, but he didn't. He came back of his own volition, and even Wong said that too. I offered him sanctuary in Kamertage. He said no, I want to go back and serve my time. So there's a part of me that's still waiting for the other shoe to drop when it comes to Blonsky, that he's gonna like, this is all a scam, or whatever.
Well, when he was first talking about his 7 soulmates, I thought he was talking about the Thunderbolts.
That's what a lot of people thought. They thought that they were going to be this Thunderbolts in disguise. They're all these middle-aged ladies that he met through the prison pen pal system. And the thing about it is Blonsky isn't a villain. He was a soldier that got kind of addicted to the power. He got a rush from being this powerful creature. And it showed that he was the everything that they'd done to him, it probably affected his mind to some level, and at least temporarily. And he just wanted to kick the Hulk's ass. And he wanted to be a hero. He was told to stop the Hulk.
Well, and
And
that's the thing. I mean,
he
they
went
made the
too far.
Hulk out to be a villain in
Sure.
a lot of the comics originally.
Oh
The
yeah,
Hulk,
absolutely.
the Hulk wasn't a good guy.
Well, he was a misunderstood
Yes,
character,
he
but
was.
yeah, the government was going after him because they thought he was a bad guy. They
Right.
thought he was a monster. Even though he'd been a member of the Avengers, even though he had done many good things, they just thought he was a monster. So Thunderbolt
He was
Ross
was
always going
uncontrollable.
after him.
That was the
Uncontrollable.
problem.
He was, yeah. And it's funny too because like they've always talked about, well, in all of the Hulk's rampages, all he's never killed anybody. He's never killed. I guarantee people have died because of Hulk rampages, even if not the Hulk necessarily, or maybe the Hulk stopping a monster that or somebody that was rampaging. Because of actions of the Hulk, people have at least been hurt. They've lost livelihoods. They've lost property.
Even in the MCU, I mean, the Hulk versus Abomination fight destroyed a large chunk of New York.
Right. A big part of Manhattan or a big part of Harlem got damaged pretty heavily because of the fight.
I mean, and I don't doubt people died in that.
Probably could be. So they always kind of gloss over. So I get it. I get that the government was like, "Yep, go after it, get him, come to stop it," and they lied to Blonsky about it. They
What got me with Blonsky was that he wasn't on the raft.
Yeah,
I would have expected him to be on the raft.
No, he was in
Damage Control's prison.
Yeah. He was. I believe he is in the same prison as that they were holding like the characters from Ms. Marvel, the clandestine.
Yeah, which I would have expected. I mean, we've established that the raft exists.
Oh yeah,
in the MCU.
Yep, absolutely did.
And I would have expected, especially someone like Blonsky, to be on the raft.
For sure. Maybe they wanted they made a special holding cell for him, so I don't know. But
hey, don't cross the yellow line.
Yeah. I love the fact that but they did establish, I mean, he did get his parole.
Yep.
And I loved how they were like, now, Mr. Wong, you have, plus just Wong, actually. Yeah. And Master of the Mystic Arts.
Those are his frame.
You did admit to
breaking a law.
You're breaking a law. It's like, I have to go.
Yeah.
So, but they did. He did get out, and I thought that was really great. It was really fucking cool, and so it should be interesting to see how that plays out. And we are going to see him again at least one episode where Jen goes to his retreat, and he does apparently have to wear an inhibiting.
Yeah, he has to wear an inhibitor,
some sort of inhibitor, so that he can't change it. If he does change back, I mean, he's going back to prison.
What I also loved was the whole I just lost my train of thought, but when they were talking about that, and Wong, oh shit, what was I gonna bring up? Shit, there was something there. I don't know now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's all right. Train of thought.
Yeah, I've been drinking all day.
So then we get into the other side story where they were talking at the bar and stuff, and they expressed to her lawyer, long Italian name, I can't remember what it is, but about how narcissistic this other guy is.
We get back to the other case.
Yeah, that he thought he could pull Megan Thee Stallion, and their argument was like, no, we were role playing. You knew the whole time. He's like, I did not. And so they were able through Jen's.
They're like, wait a minute, you worked with him.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, he's so narcissistic. Yeah. He would have believed that he could have pulled Megan Thee Stallion.
That at one point had said he was a New York 10 and an LA 11.
Yes.
This guy, no, not in the least. And but it was really funny. And then so that she testified, and she was like the winning testimony, really, that got him the money that he was the $175,000 that he was looking to get from.
Well, and then
and of course the Asgardian Elf also got 60 days in jail for impersonating a judge.
Well, yeah,
But-
because she came up and said, "You know what? I changed my mind."
Yeah.
She kept changing.
Some really funny stuff.
Kept changing the whole
Right.
kept changing herself and what? No, and running away and
Stop. Yeah. And so then so they won and I love that Megan Thee Stallion was actually in the courtroom too.
yes.
And she's like, yeah, me.
And then
that's only me. There's only one me. You know.
And then at the end, Jen is talking with in the post credit scene. Jen is talking with Megan Thee Stallion and signing a contract.
Yeah.
And then they start
twerking.
Yeah, they start twerking together.
So apparently, one of the reasons why they did that scene was apparently Tatiana Maslany is a big fan of Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay.
And she's like, I can twerk, and they were like, really? And then she did it, and then they
we watched
did it in a mocap.
We watched it, and Renee's like, that's not easy to do.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really funny. I mean, I will kill for you. Just like, dial it back, you know. So and then we do see kind of the last kind of scene we see is like she's coming home. She's I'm gonna try wrapping things up because it's getting fucking tired and hungry. She's coming home and she gets attacked by 4 thugs, and I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, holy shit, that's the Wrecking Crew. And she looks at them and she's like, did you guys rob a guardian construction worker?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah. She's like, all right, let's do this. Because at first they grab her, and first she panics. She's like, and she went, oh, wait a minute. She picks up, and then she like kind of tosses one guy, get off of me, and they're all like standing there, and she's like, and you guys, and they're like,
and they've got like a rune encrusted crowbar and
some like gauntlets and a
basically like a flail.
Thunderball is like it's supposed to be like it was supposed to be like a wrecking ball originally, like a flail, and then the one dude has a helmet, just that helmet. And in the comics, originally the Wrecker, who was the guy with the crowbar, he gets empowered by Loki. Loki empowers him and his crowbar with magic energy enough to take on Thor. And what the Wrecker does is he ends up sharing that power somehow with his 3 buddies, and they're all like crooked construction guys, and so they become the Wrecking Crew. And so that was kind of a cool thing. And you do see at one point that they try and stab her with a hypodermic to get some of her blood or something.
Yeah, they're definitely looking to get her blood.
Yeah, because at one point the guy's like, did you get it? And she's like, no, after she hulked out, I couldn't
penetrate that damn green skin.
Green skin. It was funny that she didn't go after them. She just like tossed them aside, beat the crap out of them, whatever. They made a run for it. And she's like, I mean, she's not in that superhero mode yet, you know. She's like, she just kind of picked up her papers, and then she looks at herself in the reflection, and she's like, this is what my life is, basically. I could see that. She's like, shit. I mean, she also did earlier in the show agree to an interview too, finally, because her friends are like, you got to get ahead of this. You're a thing now. You got to get in front of this. You got to, and of course the interviewer is like, hey, her diet and workout tips coming up. And you're like, she's like, what? What? I'm a lawyer.
Well, that's the thing. Renee and I were talking about it. She's like, that's all anyone's going to care about.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about this show is it's showing how women are treated in our society.
Right, exactly.
And how shitty they're treated. And how people don't want to know about the person. They want to know about makeup tips and workout tips and all of that kind of bullshit.
Exactly. And that's ridiculous. It sucks. It sucks that's the case.
Well, and her whole thing in the first episode when she's talking with Bruce about the whole how she can control her anger because she has to do that every single day.
Exactly.
And it's shitty.
And it's like, I like the fact that it's real, man. I mean, they've got this great comedy because it is really funny, but there's also, I mean, there's this underlying like serious thing about this show that like, look, this is She-Hulk is a. I liked how like the news clips and stuff that they were doing showed like this toxic masculinity and these bullshit comments that people hear on the internet all the time. You know, oh, they took the job away and they gave it to a woman. You know, that kind of thing. Or they took. Why don't you? You know, I'm all about it, but you know, how about an original character? Oh, shut the fuck up. You know, as it, all these comments that these dudes are saying were all things that we hear that were being said about female characters and whatnot.
Well, excuse me. And have you seen how there's QR codes in every episode?
Yeah, yeah.
And they like lead to like free digital editions of like She-Hulk comics.
Yeah.
And stuff.
They did it in Ms. Marvel too, I believe.
Oh yeah? I know the first two were different She-Hulks. I didn't see what the third one was. But it also, there's things in like the second episode when she's looking online at different things. One of the things over on the side is man fights with claws in bar brawl.
Yeah, no, I've heard about that too. Yeah, it's in Canada specifically.
Yes,
in Canadian bar brawl, which is a reference to
Wolverine.
Fucking Wolverine. Yeah, absolutely. So people are like, I remember reading about that. People are flipping out. Oh my god, you know, because so we've seen like the first.
We have the first big actual reference outside of the multiverse to an X-Men.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
And it's just a little snippet.
So we're gonna see. I mean, holy shit. You know, I mean, it could have been just it could have been a throwaway kind of funny thing, but I think, I mean, they don't do any of this shit.
No,
throwaway.
No, it's not. It's all done with purpose, and it's all done to like all the comics. When she's walking through the office at first, there's one guy who has just a wall of comics.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I saw that too. Yeah, yeah.
And if you look at which ones, they are all seriously referenced for certain things. It's crazy. One of my favorite things to do is actually watch the She-Hulk episodes and then watch the Nerdist recap of those episodes, because they point out all of that stuff.
Everything.
And I'm like, you know what? You have better eyes, and you have interns that can go frame by frame through everything. Right. I don't have time for that shit.
So yeah, I mean, overall, I'm the show is just killing, and I'm loving every minute of it. I think. Oh, I think this is. I mean, it was there's still getting review bombed at the beginning.
Yeah,
but I think there's no way. There's no way that the detractors are going to be able to make this a bad show. It's just a good.
I know what it was. I was going to mention that I forgot about earlier. That my train of thought went off. It was her breaking the fourth wall, and when she was talking about Wong, and she's like, "Oh, this isn't going to be like a guest of the week episode."
Yeah, that was funny. Except for Bruce and
Wong and Blonsky and Wong.
Just remember whose show this is, okay? I like that the fourth wall breaks are not all the fucking time. Too.
Yes,
we're seeing them maybe 2-3 times, real quick. And but they're always good. They're always like they're not. It's not just
exactly
bullshit, you know. So, but yeah, Chris, we really need to.
We should wrap things up.
Guys, thanks for joining us tonight on our very special Monday night here on News with Alcohol. Guys, we are here usually every Tuesday night right here on this channel. Thanks, Dawn, for swinging in. We had
and Renee.
We had, of course, Wings Cook, Renee checking out things. I think we had like 1 or 2 other people. Guys, we can be found. We can be downloaded and streamed at all the places you find quality podcasting. Guys, we're on the Google Play Store. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, radio.com, Odyssey app, all these different things, all these different places. Guys, you can also download and stream our shows from www.nerdswithalcoholshow.com. Chris puts the episode up on YouTube a couple of days after we do it on Twitch. Be sure to join us every other Friday as well for Tavern Nights, our D&D show, and every opposite Monday of that D&D show for Tavern Talk, where we talk D&D and our D&D game specifically.
Yeah. And we don't have weather-related issues.
When we don't have weather-related, I guess. Last week it was a mess.
And remember, you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Instagram, Drinking Nerds, and Twitter at Drinking Nerds. I'm like, what's the other one? And yeah, and we YouTube, it's Drinking Nerds as well. Check us out. Please like, subscribe, follow us here on Twitch. That really does help us out. If you can subscribe, great. If you can subscribe on YouTube, fantastic. YouTube doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Here it does a little bit, but it does help us out and helps us put money back into the show.
It does. So please do what you can.
Yep. So I think that's going to about do it.
That should do it.
So on that note.
Until next time. Sláinte.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.